KLM shocked the aviation world by turning away from its long-standing Boeing alliance to embrace the Airbus A321neo. But why did this iconic airline decide to switch sides after years of loyalty to Boeing? Watch till the end to uncover the reason behind KLM's fleet decision and explore the impressive features that make the Airbus A321neo a game-changer in the world of aviation. At the end of 2023, KLM made a surprising decision that shook the aviation world. The Dutch airline announced they would phase out their Boeing 737 fleet and replace it with Airbus A321neo aircraft. This was quite unexpected, especially since KLM had always preferred Boeing planes. So what changed? Why did KLM decide to swap their Boeing 737s for Airbus A321neos? First, let's talk about some of the issues Boeing has been facing. Boeing's problems didn't just start recently. They go back more than 25 years. Even the 737 MAX was in the news again due to a series of serious issues. After two tragic crashes in 2018 and 2019 that killed more than 300 people, the plane underwent 5 years of design changes and regulatory scrutiny. Despite this, the 737 MAX was grounded again in January 2024 after a fuselage panel blew out in midair on January 5th. This incident led to an investigation by the Federal Aviation Administration, which found loose bolts on other MAX 9s. The FAA grounded the planes and issued a warning which said, quote, "This incident should have never happened and it cannot happen again." Boeing has also faced ongoing issues with its 787 Dreamliner, their newest jumbo jet. These repeated problems point to a deeper issue within the company beyond just isolated engineering errors. The root cause seems to be a leadership failure that has allowed a shift away from Boeing's historical focus on engineering excellence. Could leadership failures and a focus on short-term gains be the real reason behind Boeing's ongoing troubles? Boeing, founded by William Boeing, created the commercial aviation industry and became the leading producer due to its commitment to aircraft design and safety. The current problems can be traced back to former CEO Philip Condit, who made two significant decisions that drastically changed Boeing's culture. The first was the acquisition of McDonnell Douglas in 1997. McDonnell Douglas was a leader in military aviation and a major competitor in commercial aviation, but its focus was on cost-cutting and upgrading older airplane models, which went against Boeing's tradition of engineering excellence. The cultural shift began with this acquisition, introducing a focus on cost-cutting at the expense of innovation and safety. Over time, this new culture degraded the engineering quality that had made Boeing a leader in the aviation industry. Boeing's troubles can also be traced to a significant decision in 2001 when Condit moved the company's headquarters from Seattle to Chicago. This move was primarily to gain $60 million in state and local tax credits over 20 years. However, it had the unintended consequence of separating Boeing's corporate executives from its engineering and product development teams, which were still based in Seattle. This created a disconnect between management and the engineers, leading to communication and decision-making issues. How do you think moving Boeing's headquarters impacted its engineering focus and decision-making processes? After Condit resigned in 2003 due to an ethics scandal, Boeing's board brought Harry Stonecipher out of retirement to take over. Stonecipher, a former executive from McDonnell Douglas and General Electric, aimed to shift Boeing's focus from being a great engineering firm to running like a business. One of his controversial decisions was to reject a proposal to design an all-new single-aisle aircraft to replace the aging Boeing 727, 737, and 757 models. Instead of using advances in aviation technology to develop a new plane, Stonecipher chose to continue profiting from older models and use the revenue to buy back Boeing stock. But Stonecipher's tenure was short-lived, and he resigned after 2 years due to a violation of the company's code of conduct. Instead of promoting Alan Mulally, who headed Boeing's commercial aviation division and had successfully developed the Boeing 777, the board appointed Jim McNerney, another ex-GE executive who was then CEO of 3M. Mulally, known for his strong leadership and innovative approach, left Boeing to become CEO of Ford, where he executed one of the most remarkable business turnarounds in history. So, did Boeing's shift towards financial priorities compromise its commitment to engineering excellence? Well, this series of leadership changes and cultural shifts at Boeing led to a focus on short-term financial gains over long-term engineering excellence. The emphasis on stock buybacks and cost-cutting measures spoiled Boeing's commitment to quality and innovation, contributing to the problems we see today with the 737 MAX and other models. These decisions show a broader issue with Boeing's leadership, where financial priorities have often overshadowed the company's engineering roots and dedication to safety and innovation. By 2011, Boeing faced tough competition from Airbus's A320neo, losing major customers like American Airlines. Instead of creating a new aircraft to replace the aging 737, McNerney decided to upgrade the existing model to the 737 MAX. This decision was driven by a desire to minimize costs and maximize short-term earnings. The redesign had to fit with the original FAA certification and maintain the same flying characteristics to avoid retraining pilots or updating training manuals, as agreed with customers like Southwest Airlines. In the tech industry, quick fixes can often lead to design compromises that cause more problems down the line. This is precisely what happened with the 737 MAX. By 2015, the aircraft encountered stall issues. Instead of implementing more extensive design changes that might have jeopardized the original type certification, Boeing chose to address the problem with a significant software update. However, this change was not disclosed to the FAA or mentioned in the pilot's manual. The software flaw, which took flight control away from its pilots based on data from a single sensor, was a critical factor in the two 737 MAX crashes in 2018 and 2019, resulting in the deaths of 346 people. After the first crash, Boeing reassured pilots and passengers that, quote, "the 737 MAX is as safe as any airplane that has ever flown the skies." This statement backfired when a second crash occurred just 4 months later. The decision to prioritize short-term financial gains over long-term safety and innovation has had severe consequences for Boeing. Now, when Boeing's leadership hesitated to ground the 737 MAX after the crashes, the FAA had to step in, forcing a lengthy process of inspections, tests, and design changes that took 20 months. During this time, airlines were left waiting for the planes they needed. This delay caused significant operational challenges for Boeing's customers. Congress also got involved.
The order of prohibition to ground all flights of the 737 MAX 8.
Holding hearings that criticized Boeing's handling of the situation and eventually led to the removal of then CEO Dennis Muilenburg. Today, an ex-GE executive, David Calhoun, who has been on Boeing's board since 2009, is tasked with the challenging job of restoring the company's business and quality standards. The reputational damage from the 737 MAX crisis has been immense. Actions taken by former CEOs Philip Condit and Harry Stonecipher shifted Boeing's focus from excellence in aviation design, quality, and safety to emphasizing short-term profits and shareholder returns through stock buybacks. The shift in focus started in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Condit's decision to move Boeing's headquarters to Chicago for tax benefits distanced corporate leadership from the engineering teams in Seattle. Stonecipher's strategy to run Boeing more like a business than an engineering firm further cemented this cultural change. This new approach prioritized cost-cutting and maximizing profits over the innovation and safety standards that Boeing was once known for. Dennis Muilenburg's failure to ground the planes after the first crash and properly investigate the root cause further increased the crisis. Even the Boeing board, composed of highly skilled individuals, couldn't safeguard Boeing's culture and reputation. Ironically, the focus on shareholder value over the past 2 decades has backfired spectacularly. Since 2018, Boeing's investors have lost $87 billion. The damage to Boeing's reputation and market position is even greater, with Airbus consistently outselling Boeing in new aircraft orders over the past 5 years. Now, CEO David Calhoun faces the immediate challenge of fixing the MAX fuselage panel issue and regaining market share. However, his true challenge lies in restoring Boeing's culture of aviation excellence. This isn't a quick fix, but a long-term project crucial for Boeing to reclaim its position as a leader in the aviation industry. Can Boeing regain its reputation for safety and innovation after such significant missteps? Now, KLM, the Dutch flag carrier airline, has a fleet of 107 aircraft. Right now, their narrow-body fleet consists of Boeing 737 next-generation planes, but these will be replaced by Airbus A321neo family aircraft in 2024. For long-haul flights, KLM uses Airbus A330s, Boeing 777s, and Boeing 787 Dreamliners. Recently, in September 2003, Air France KLM announced they ordered 50 Airbus A350s. These new planes will replace the group's remaining Airbus A330s and Boeing 777-200ERs and will be shared between Air France and KLM. Let's talk about KLM's fleet strategy. KLM received their first Boeing 787-10 aircraft on June 28, 2019, featuring special markings for their 100th anniversary. However, there have been changes over the years. Back in June 2013, KLM had ordered 7 Airbus A350-900s. But in June 2019, Air France KLM decided that KLM would not use these A350s to streamline their fleet. But in a notable announcement at Air France's Investor Day on November 5, 2019, CEO Ben Smith mentioned that KLM would eventually only use Boeing 777s and 787s for long-haul flights, planning to retire their 13 A330s. This plan seemed like it would make KLM an all-Boeing airline for long-haul flights. However, things took a turn in December of 2021 when KLM announced they had placed an order for 100 Airbus A320neo and A321neo aircraft, which they would share with their subsidiary, Transavia. This order is meant to replace KLM's short-haul Boeing 737 fleet along with Transavia's fleet. On December 19, 2023, Air France KLM marked a significant milestone in its fleet modernization efforts with the delivery of its first Airbus A321neo aircraft designated for operation by Transavia Netherlands. This aircraft, configured with 232 seats in a single-class layout, commenced its commercial flights from Amsterdam Schiphol Airport starting January 5, 2024. Benjamin Smith, CEO of Air France KLM, emphasized the importance of this delivery, stating, quote, "This is the beginning of a new chapter for Transavia and for the group." He showed the Airbus A320neo family's role in enhancing environmental sustainability by offering quieter operations and reduced emissions, all while accommodating more passengers. Smith reaffirmed the group's commitment to reducing its environmental footprint and enhancing customer experience through the substantial investment in fleet renewal. Air France KLM has also announced plans to initiate direct flights between Milan and New York, aiming to introduce services using new Airbus A320neo aircraft as soon as possible. However, before these flights can begin, there's a crucial problem: a modification of existing regulations that currently limit the distance of flights from Milan's Linate Airport. Smith unveiled these intentions during a summit in Brussels on March 20th of 2024, hosted by the Airlines for Europe Association. At present, Linate Airport operates under restrictions that cap hourly movements at 18 departures and arrivals. Additionally, flights from Linate are constrained by a 1,500-kilometer limit on route distances, severely restricting longer flights. Furthermore, due to the airport's runway limitations, only single-aisle aircraft are permitted to operate from Linate. This restriction includes larger twin-aisle aircraft such as the Airbus A330, A350, Boeing 777, and 787 from conducting operations at the airport. How do you think Air France KLM can overcome these regulatory challenges to start long-haul flights from Linate Airport? Now, the oldest of their 777-200s have been flying since 2003, so updates are definitely due. Initially, there was talk that KLM might go for the Airbus A350 or the Boeing 777X. However, on August 23, 2023, reports indicated that KLM is likely to increase its fleet of Boeing 787 Dreamliners instead. In line with their fleet update plans, KLM is set to debut its Airbus A321-200neo operations in late August 2024. According to a local aviation news site, the first A321neos will fly out of Amsterdam Schiphol to Stockholm Arlanda, Berlin Brandenburg International, and Copenhagen Kastrup. KLM's fleet strategy is clearly focused on modernizing and improving efficiency. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner is known for its fuel efficiency and passenger comfort, making it a strong candidate to replace the older aircraft. Similarly, the Airbus A321neo is a modern, efficient plane that fits well with KLM's short-haul routes. KLM's second Airbus A321neo will start flying on October 7, 2024. This aircraft will serve routes to London Heathrow, Edinburgh, and Paris CDG. The Dutch airline plans to configure these planes to carry up to 227 passengers. KLM is third and for now the final airline within the Air France KLM group to add A320neo family aircraft to their fleet. Before KLM, the group's low-cost carriers, Transavia Airlines and Transavia France, received their first A321neo and A320-200neo planes in late December 2023 and early January 2024. There have been some delays in these deliveries, pushing them back by about 6 months from the original schedule. The Air France KLM group has a firm order for 100 A320neo family aircraft with an option for 60 more. However, Air France is not currently part of this order. Will the delayed deliveries of the A320neo family aircraft impact KLM's operational plans? To supplement their fleet, the group plans to lease additional aircraft. KLM expects to receive 3 A321neos from CDB Aviation in the second half of 2024. Now, the Airbus A321neo, known for its fuel efficiency and capacity, is a perfect fit for busy routes. By including these advanced aircraft, KLM aims to offer better service and comfort to its passengers while enhancing operational efficiency. Fleet renewal forms a crucial part of Air France-KLM's strategy to achieve a 30% reduction in CO2 emissions per passenger per kilometer by 2030 compared to 2019 levels. Combined with the use of sustainable aviation fuels and operational measures such as eco-piloting, this effort aims to decarbonize the group's operations significantly. By 2030, the group anticipates that 81% of its fleet will consist of new generation aircraft, up from 21% in 2023, underscoring its commitment to sustainable aviation practices. Since the early 2000s, Air France-KLM has already achieved a 40% reduction in its noise footprint, reflecting its ongoing dedication to improving environmental performance. This strategic shift towards newer, more efficient aircraft not only supports environmental goals, but also positions Air France-KLM as a leader in sustainable aviation practices within the industry. But KLM initially planned to replace its aging fleet of Boeing 737s with the new 737 MAX. This seemed logical given KLM's long history with Boeing. Keeping the fleet consistent would minimize crew training costs and streamline operations. However, the global grounding of the 737 MAX in 2019, following 2 tragic accidents, forced KLM to reconsider its options. The disruption made KLM explore alternatives behind Boeing for the first time in many years. The airline began to seriously evaluate other aircraft that could offer better efficiency and performance. This marked a significant shift for an airline known for its loyalty to Boeing. Why did KLM choose the Airbus A320neo for its new fleet? Speaking about this transition, KLM CEO Pieter Elbers emphasized that the order for fleet renewal was a crucial step towards achieving their goals in sustainability, customer experience, comfort, and efficiency. Elbers noted that these new aircraft would substantially reduce carbon dioxide emissions and noise levels, aligning with their sustainability objectives. He also highlighted that investing in these new planes would improve KLM's efficiency and customer experience. The coronavirus pandemic had forced KLM to focus on survival for the past 18 months. Now, as the airline begins to recover, it can once again look to the future. Elbers explained that the new order is a critical part of KLM's restructuring plan, preparing the company and enhancing the customer experience for the future. But why is KLM opting for the Airbus A320neo over the Boeing 737 MAX? One of the primary reasons is the A321neo's remarkable fuel efficiency and performance. The A321neo reduces fuel consumption by 15% compared to its predecessor. This leads to lower operating costs and a reduced environmental impact, both crucial factors for modern airlines. Airbus has enhanced the A320 family's already strong reputation for quality and efficiency with the Neo or the new engine option. These aircraft offer 2 advanced engine choices, CFM International's LEAP 1A and Pratt & Whitney's Pure Power PW1100G JM geared turbofan. Combined with Airbus's fuel-saving Chartlet wingtip devices, these engines improve fuel efficiency by 20% per seat. This also extends the aircraft range by up to 500 nautical miles or adds 2 tons of extra payload. In terms of capacity and noise, the A321neo also outshines the 737 MAX. Airbus has optimized the use of cabin space, increased exit limits, and introduced a new cabin door configuration called Cabin Flex, which boosts the aircraft's maximum certified capacity to 244 seats while maintaining Airbus's standard of comfort with 18-inch wide seats. Additionally, the A321neo produces 50% less noise than previous generation planes, an important factor as airports face stricter noise regulations. KLM's shift to the Airbus A321neo signifies a strategic move towards greater efficiency, sustainability, and passenger comfort. This decision reflects the airline's commitment to reducing carbon dioxide emissions and aligning with the UN climate agreement signed in Paris. The A321neo's fuel efficiency, enhanced capacity, and reduced noise make it an attractive option for KLM as it looks to build a stronger, more sustainable future. Thanks for joining us on this gripping journey through the events surrounding the Airbus A321neo. What do you think? Will Air France-KLM's focus on sustainability and modern fleet renewal inspire other airlines to follow and accelerate the industry's shift towards greener aviation? But hey, the excitement doesn't have to end here. If you enjoyed the ride, subscribe for more thrilling tales and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, make sure your seatbelt is fastened and tray tables are up. Safe travels and happy subscribing.